So to give you guys a better idea of what I do for a living, this is one of the machines that I'm servicing. This is a multiplex 650. It's a Mazak machine. I work for Mazak's distributor. And what I'm doing is I'm actually replacing the PLGs. And they are these little sensors down in here that track the RPM of the spindle. So what I have to do is I have to tune them in with an oscilloscope. They've got little potentiometers on here, on that little box. You can see where I've got my scope hooked up, but I've got to adjust those little potentiometers and get this reading at the correct voltages so that it'll read the correct RPM and it will orient the C-axis. So this is a lathe with milling capability. So this chuck will spin material, and then you have cutting tools over here. These cutting tools can actually turn or they can be stationary. That's why it's a milling machine and a lathe together. And there's a part that they're making in that side. So this is full autonomy. This will unload your part from the robot, bring it over, put it in the chuck, do all the work on this side, then it'll transfer from this chuck over to this chuck, then it'll do the work on the back side, then the robot will come in, grab it, and set it back down on the pallet as a complete part. But this is just wanted to show you a little bit better idea of what I work on. So you can see how that entire side of the machine is all assembled. I had to pull all of this off of this side, and there's all the pieces. So it takes me roughly about 2 days to replace the PLG. A little under a day to remove all the covers, and then spend a little bit tuning the PLG in, and then the next morning finish tuning the PLG in, because this actually has 2 PLG sensors, so I got to tune in 2 of them. And then after I get them all tuned in, then I'll throw all the covers back on and check the machine for proper operation. But just wanted to show you guys a little bit better idea of what I do for a living. So as you can see, this is what I'm trying to get a good sine wave. This reading right here needs to be 3 volts, and what that is that's the top of this sine wave to the bottom of this sine wave. And then this needs to be at 0 so that I have 1.5 volts above 0 and 1.5 volts below 0. So that's what I'm going to work on adjusting. And now you can see I've made my adjustment. Now my VDC is at 0, peak to peak is at 3. You can see the B center line is right in the middle of the sine wave. So, all right, and then there's the square wave where I'm setting how the spindle is going to orient. So some of you guys probably aren't going to know what I'm talking about, but this square wave right here, it tells it when it needs to orient, so when it needs to stop its rotation, and it has to happen in this negative area. What's up, guys? So in this video I'm gonna go ahead and get the Audi back together. I've been working on the fenders and working on the motor. I got all my gaskets and timing set and everything for the motor. I've already got the motor, I've got the heads and the timing set back on it. Installing exhaust manifolds and intake manifold and all that, and getting it bolted up to the transmission. Gonna get it set back in the car. So hoping that I can get this thing back on the road this weekend. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, so this is my fender after 2 coats of Bondo. I just got done sanding it down, and it looks like everything looks pretty good. I'm not seeing any pinholes in it. I mean, you can see the scratches from where I was sanding it, but I'm not seeing any pinholes in it at all. I mean, it looks like a pinhole, but it's actually smooth. I don't feel a dent right there. That feels a little bit funky. But I was able to get all this feathered out. I still got to finish fixing this front lip right here. And I've got a little divot right in here, so I'm gonna have to fix this wall right here. But other than that, I mean, that thing's turning out really nice. And it was freaking raining. I mean, you saw that in the last video, but that's why I've got some small surface rust, because I couldn't paint it because the Bondo wasn't done. So, but yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm probably going to wind up doing one real thin skim coat from here all the way to the tip of the fender, and from here all the way down to the end of the fender, and then that way I can block the entire fender. So I'll show you after I do that.
All right, what's up, guys? So went to the junkyard this morning, got the last remaining couple pieces that I need to be able to get the car completely reassembled. I've got the engine completely assembled, got it bolted to the transmission. I'm getting ready to start putting it back into the car. Once I get the engine back in the car, then I'll start working on the fenders again, get the fenders as far as I can. And then if I can't finish the fenders, I'm just going to throw some primer on them and put the front end on it so that I can drive the car, and then I'll work on it again next weekend. I'll just drive it with the fenders not finished. They look okay, but they won't be complete. But I'm going to see how far I can get, and we'll go from there. But yeah, the engine's back assembled, getting ready to drop it in the car, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so this should be pretty obvious for some people, but I just want to show this in case people don't know how to do this. If you ever had some of these studs that are missing, or you have them broken and you need to replace them, way to get them out, or easy way to get them out, I won't say the only way to get them out, is put two nuts on here, tighten them down against each other, and then just turn the back one to remove it, and then when you go to put it in, turn the front one and it'll pull it in. Then when you go to break the nut, just break the two nuts loose from each other and then unscrew them, and the stud will stay in.
All right, so there's my next layer. I'm still gonna I'm gonna let this dry for a couple minutes. I'm gonna fill in this bottom part right here as well. Then I'll sand after all of it dries. But I'm waiting for my wife to get back from the parts store. I had to get some new hose clamps. I'm gonna show how to build a new spider hose assembly, because the spider hose assembly that I bought, I canceled it when I wrecked the car, and I freaking forgot to order it again because I didn't know if I was going to fix the car or not. I was freaking devastated, and I actually used the money that I got as a refund to buy some of the stuff for the front end. So I'm just going to make a new spider hose assembly, and I'll show you how to do that in this video. All right, guys, so I'm working on rebuilding the spider hose assembly, and I keep seeing this freaking black spot right here, and it's bugging the shit out of me. But anyway, so I'm gonna replace these individual hoses on here, but I've only got a couple that are broken, so I may only replace the ones that are damaged. I don't know. I might replace them all. It depends on how much hose it takes to do it. But the way that I cut these hoses off, and you can see this one right here is broken. So the way that I cut these off is I stick my blade in underneath the hose and work it from the back up to the front, work it over each one of the individual ridges, and just be careful and keep your hand out of the way of the blade. But if you keep working it around, you'll be able to get it off without damaging the nipple that you need to be able to stick your new hose on. And this last little bit is always a pain in the ass because it's really tight. But once you get it to break around the nipple, or hose barb, whatever you want to call it, it'll pop right off. So I've already taken, so that was that hose. I've already taken this hose off. The other three are still in good shape. I am going to replace the pancake valve because it is broken. So I'm probably gonna remove the hose clamp here and then rig up something different for how this goes, because I've got a pancake valve off of a 1.8 liter. So I'm gonna try and retrofit that into here because I don't wanna spend 300 bucks right now on a new spider hose assembly, and I can't find one that's used that works on my emission system. Because even the new, I was hoping that the new engine would come with the correct pancake valve and I'd be able to use a cleaner Y pipe and all that, but the pancake valve assembly is missing, and somebody did a hack job on it. I mean, total freaking hack job on it. So I'm not even going to attempt to use it. Plus my intake's different. So everything that's on the engine now is what was on my original engine. All I used was the block and the heads. Everything else is off of my engine. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm probably going to leave these three original hoses until they start to fail. I may go, I'm going to replace this one, but I'm going to leave this original hose right here because I didn't buy any smaller diameter hose. I may wind up changing this hose depending on how I'm doing the pancake valve. I'll just have to wait and see how I get all that set up. But I have to replace this one because it was broken. These accordion style ones are really prone to snapping because of where the ribs are. So I may go ahead and replace this one and just use, I'm just going to use 3/4 hose, vacuum hose. And yeah, we'll go from there. But I'll give you an update after I figure out exactly what all I'm replacing on this. As it stands right now, I think this is the only one that I'm going to leave original. I think I'm going to replace this one and this one. So we'll see. All right, guys. So here's my new spider hose assembly. I bought 3/4 hose and I should have used 5/8. So I'm just going to use this for now, and I'll swap it over to 5/8 later because no part store around here has any freaking hose in stock. So I don't know. I sent my wife to Summit and had her buy this and get all these hose clamps, and I'm missing 2 hose clamps, so it's not completely finished. But
and I still got to trim this side because I'm going to fit all of this on, and then I'll get that side fit and cut it and put my last 2 clamps on. I need a clamp right there on the pancake valve, and I'll need a clamp on the other receiving piece like this. But this will clip right onto the back of the engine like it did originally. And then instead of having that pancake valve right there, now I have this pancake valve. All right, guys, so the motor's in. Everything's sitting in place. I've got the motor mounts hooked up, got the transmission cross member hooked up. Just put the new spider hose assembly on here, and I just wanted to show it to you. So here's my spider hose assembly. The only hose that has not been replaced on the entire assembly is this hose right here. All the rest of it's been replaced. So, and then here's my new pancake valve. This is an OEM pancake valve off of a 1.8 liter. And then I've got this hose running in as well. And then I'll have this one running for my vacuum. Like so. So, there's all my vacuum hooked up, ready to rock and roll. So, making progress. I'm going to start throwing the rest of this motor together and boogie on down the road. All right, guys, unfortunately I was not able to get the Audi back running today. I got the engine completely in here. I've got everything hooked up except for the radiator. You just saw me working on the driver's side fender. So engine's in. Still got to put my serpentine belt on, and still got to put some hose clamps and whatnot on. But I'm gonna run out of daylight here in the next 20 minutes. So I'll probably wind up getting this thing back running tomorrow. I don't lack much. I got to bolt 2 CV axles in, bolt in the rear drive shaft, put the 2 downpipes in, and then put the core support on, radiator, and air box, and just little odds and ends to get it buttoned up. So I'll probably have it running tomorrow, and I'll cover the everything that I do for the headlights in the next video, because I'm obviously not going to get to that until I get the front end put on here. So I'm going to go ahead and post up what I've got. That's basically everything that I'm going to do to the fenders. I just showed you on the one. I'm not going to record the other fender. But I will wind up doing some work to the back of the fender, and I'll do an updated video later on to show what I do to the back of the fender. Right now, all I did was cleaned up the edges of the little spacer piece that I put behind there, and welded it to the back of the fender. So what I'll wind up doing is I'll probably wind up putting a little bit of Bondo on there just to seal the edges, or I'll do some seam sealer. I'll probably wind up doing seam sealer instead of Bondo, because I can just freaking smear that shit on there and it'll dry hard. Well, it'll still be flexible, but it'll dry to where it won't allow any rust to get in there. So yeah, I think that's basically where I'm at right now. Like I say, I'll have the car running tomorrow. Hopefully. Now, I'm still missing the one computer that I need for the headlights, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wire the headlights up without the adaptive system working. I'm just going to hook up the regular headlights with the xenons, and I'm not going to hook up the adaptive system yet and see if they'll work. I don't know if they'll work without the adaptive hooked up. So I'll hook them up and see what happens, and if my headlights won't work, then I'll be stuck to driving it only during the day until I can get the headlights squared away. But after I get the front end back together and get it back on the road, then I'm going to start doing other body modifications to it. Start doing the RS4. I'm going to order a RS4 front bumper. It's going to be an aftermarket one. It's not going to be an original one.
but I'm going to buy the RS4 style front bumper, and then I'm going to do some side skirts and rear bumper that are made for the B6, and then I'm going to do the some LED taillights that I had on my blue B6 that I really like. So still have quite a few things that I'm going to wind up doing to the Audi, and that's not where I'm going to stop. I still got to do my tune, and then after I get all that done and I work on the Veloster for a little bit, I'm probably going to wind up doing a upgraded turbo system on there. I've been looking at quite a few different systems, so what I'll probably wind up doing is buying a complete kit and doing a how-to on how to install that complete kit, get everything working on that. But like always, if you like what I showed in this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, let your friends see what I'm doing. We'll keep trying to get this channel to grow. So been seeing more subscribers come in, and that's great, and I welcome all the new people watching the videos. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.